Hi, everyone, and welcome to Art Block. I'm sitting here today with Seth Kearsley.
Whose phone is ringing? Sorry.
It's all good.
I'll turn that on mute.
Oh, it's all good. It's a pleasure to have you here today, Seth.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here.
So,
Literally good to be here. It's good to be alive.
oh yeah, I know you had been through a recent event not too long ago.
Yeah, pretty gnarly car crash.
Uh, I'm
Very, very, very near death for, at least a good week. So yeah, changes some things.
It must give you like a different perspective on things, and that was actually why you, I guess, to go into the first point of what I really wanted to talk about today too is that's why you were so adamant to like get the Kingdom Hearts animatic scene, correct?
Yeah. I mean, like only a handful of people ever saw that. And it was something that I was really proud of. Like, there's parts of it that I'm not proud of. Like, I definitely could have spent more time on the drawing, but like I had some like staff issues, and I ended up having to do more than just the drawing part of it. So that took time away from the drawing. But like, I felt like I captured the game, and that I just wanted like the fans to be able to see it, fans of the game. And honestly, I didn't know that there was such a huge Kingdom Hearts fan community, because I did the pilot and then it didn't go, and they're like, it's great, it's great, it's great, but then it didn't go, and so I was a little crushed, and I was kind of like, oh, well, screw that then. And then I didn't keep up on anything Kingdom Hearts. And then way later, I don't know if it's like 2013 maybe. I posted some boards on DeviantArt, just to like put some art that I was proud of out there for people to see, because no one had seen it. And then that's the first time that like things really went nuts with the Kingdom Hearts community, and like I don't know, I probably had like 10 followers on DeviantArt, and then all of a sudden that one post gets like thousands of comments, and it's just like, oh, whoa, what happened? And so then I became aware of the Kingdom. I knew that there were other games, but I just wasn't keeping up on it. And then I guess the next time, like someone asked on Twitter, like, hey, so like whatever happened to that anyway? And I just happened to have the VHS like right next to me for whatever reason, and so I just took a picture of the VHS, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got the animatic. And then that's when like there was another huge like, what? This thing exists.
I was a part of that.
Yeah.
I almost freaked out when I saw that.
Yeah, and and I was just like, oh yeah, I mean, you guys have seen the board. Like I put the board up, and then you just assume that like, oh well, everyone that was interested already saw the board, and so same thing with that post. Like it just blew up, and I was like, oh man, but like, I'll probably get in trouble if I were to share that. So let me think about this. And also at the time, my girls were really, really young, and I just, I have very little spare time now. I had even less then, and so yeah, after the accident, once you're like okay, and your family's okay, and like kind of the trauma of it, like kind of starts to subside. Like you start thinking about like all those projects that you wanted to do that. You just never got a chance to do, or the ideas of your own that you're like, yeah, someday I'm going to do that graphic novel, someday I'm going to do that. You just really like, I mean, I was just pulling out of a parking lot, and I really thought that probably I wasn't going to get hit, and I didn't hear any brakes screeching. So, I was like, I felt pretty good. Like, yeah, oh, sorry, I like, pulled out in front of you guys, because the one car was able to stop, but the other car, distracted teen driver, didn't even hit the brakes and hit me so hard. Like it literally bent the car. Like the entire car was bent. And my last thought would have been, oh, sorry. And then all of those things that I wanted to do just gone like that. So it really like sheds a light on like, don't wait. Like you've got this stuff that you want to do, just do it, because you could be pulling out of a parking lot and the last thing it goes through your head is, oh, sorry. After impact, I had a couple of like brief moments where I was like, I have memories from like immediately after the accident, and like I remember thinking like, all of a sudden there were all these people around my car, and I was just like, weird. Why are all these people around my car? And they were talking to me and trying to like calm me down, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good, and like I felt like I had the wind knocked out of me. So I don't know if everyone does this, but I know I do this when I get the wind knocked out of me. You do the like, no, I'm good,
Yeah.
fine. And like everyone can tell that you're not good, but you're like, no, I'm good. And so it was kind of like that. I was like, no, I'm good. And then I started to slip to the side, and someone kicked in the passenger side window so that they could unlock the door and get in and catch me from falling over. And just that probably saved my life. And then like in the next blink, like the ambulance was there. And my thought was just like, yeah, no, why'd they call the ambulance? Like, I'm fine. Like, I'll be fine. And then like I didn't remember the ride to the hospital, but apparently I talked the whole way to the hospital. And like it's not like some big like pain. My phone is blowing up for some reason. Like I sit here all day and it's quiet, and then I have something.
The second you start, it's like okay.
Yeah, the second there's something to interrupt, then there's interruptions. I mean, I'm gonna like talk about the accident more and like do a video about the accident, just because like people have asked, and yeah, I mean, I have so many projects that were like near misses that I was just like, all right, well, whatever, I'm moving on. And now I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna put it out. And I kind of felt like with the Kingdom Hearts pilot, I was like, I mean, I'm gonna put it out, and most likely tomorrow I'm gonna get a call from my lawyer, and he's gonna say that Disney Legal called him, and then he's gonna like chew me out for 5 minutes for doing something that if I had asked him, he would have said no. But that's why I didn't ask him. And so the way that they did it was very polite, and it's just kind of like, hey, like you can't do that. So can you take it down? And so it wasn't being monetized or anything like that. Like genuinely just wanting to share it with the fans.
No doubt.
So
it was a wonderful animatic too, if I can tell you. Like I've grown up with Kingdom Hearts. It was one of the series that was very close and near and dear to my heart for so many years. And I had the biggest, goofiest smile on my face watching that animatic. It's like it was like seeing my childhood rush right back towards me, and it's like this is actually a question I wanted to ask you today about that as well. Is seeing the style of the games, I saw the way you like had designed Sora, Riku, and Kairi, as well as the rest of the characters for the animatic, and I wanted to know what your approach was for actually taking these video game designs and adapting them into a cartoon format. Like, how did you even begin to start the process of making those into cartoons?
Like specifically like the character design and stuff like that?
Yeah, more from a design aspect. I really appreciated the designs. Like they were
I was really just I was following the Art of book, and so that's all just like me, like just quickly drawing it. Like I wasn't thinking of it as like a redesign, because in the storyboard, like model isn't important in the storyboard. What's important is
Hmm.
getting the story across. The expressions and things that I was doing. Also, like people are commenting on the expressions, but like a lot of times their faces in the board were like the size of a dime. And even though I'm using like a really small micron pen, even still, like it was ink on paper. You get one shot at that. And you could put a new sheet down and redraw, but like I was under a time crunch. So I look at some of the art and I'm like, so there are places where I'm like, okay, I nailed that pose, I nailed that expression, and then there are other places where I'm like, oh man, he looks like the dude from The Mask. Like, oh, his eyes are crazy. Like, but I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. Just like there was such a time crunch. But because it was such a time crunch, I was able to have a little bit more freedom with what it was, and so a little bit more. It felt a little bit more like what it feels like anime directors would get to do, like actually direct the thing and have a vision and see that vision through. And the only times I've ever been able to do that is when the schedule and budget are really tight. That's when you get the most freedom because they're just like, it's too late to change it. Just keep going.
just get this through. We need it. We need it. He can look like The Mask. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, a lot of the worst drawings in there were drawings that I was definitely planning on going back to fix those drawings. And if my editor, in air quotes editor, because he was I won't say who he was, but there was a reason why I went with this person that was untested for this thing, and he said that he knew Premiere, he said that he knew After Effects, and it turned out that just bold-faced lie. He just was going to make it up as he went along, and so we started sending panels his way. And I keep checking in. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? And he lived out of state, and I'm like, how's it going? How's it going? Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. And I'm like, so like, how's it play? Like, yeah, it's good. It's good. Just old face lying to me. And so when I finally went to go and to check it out, then I'm like actually there. And I think that I'm sitting down to like, all right, let's see a first pass, and he hadn't even started. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And even still, because of like who this person was, like I couldn't just like fire him and be like, you're not getting paid for nothing, So I had to make it work, and then I had to jump in and basically teach him Premiere and teach him After Effects, and then do a lot of the editing myself, and do a lot of the compositing myself. So that scene that everyone is like, Jafar just got yeeted out the door. Part of why that move is so funky is because I knew After Effects, but that particular move, I was like, wait, now how am I need to know, it's like it's too fast. I just got to move on. But it's funny that's like I didn't even know the word yeet until people started reacting to the video. We yeeted him out. I'm like, oh, I'm telling my wife, yeah, do you know what yeeted means? And she's like, weeded? No, yeeted. Like we literally went back and forth like a couple of grandparents, like, what is that? So but yeah, that was a product of just going way too fast. But yeah, sorry, I just said a lot of words.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine. Like I wanted to hear about it, and honestly, it may seem like even with like the whole Jafar just getting thrown out, or like the weird like the expressions that you can see on
Yeah,
Riku's face. I loved Riku's expressions too; they were so great. Um, there's an inherent silliness that comes with Kingdom Hearts that I think can get overlooked sometimes. So,
yeah,
if you would have told me all that was intentional and like done for comedic timing for it, I would have
yeah.
completely believed it. Like it
I
was.
mean, he definitely was going to get thrown through the door, but I wasn't planning on it being like, it maybe would have been like, so, and that expression that Riku makes that everyone when he's like, "There's a magic
Magic
lamp in
lamp.
there," like that was meant to be funny,
Oh yeah.
and there's some other moments that people like really found funny that were genuinely meant to be funny, but like with that one, I don't know if people are finding it funny because it was funny or because the expression was took them so out of their understanding of Riku. But anyway, whatever, a laugh's a laugh.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but there's a manga series for Kingdom Hearts, and your expressions are actually very reminiscent to what they do in the manga. So
Yeah, I've heard that.
it feels like it was kind of like seeing that come to life a little bit. So it was
Mm.
I was overall impressed with it. I thought it was great, and if it gets greenlit, I will be the first one to never stop talking about it
Yeah.
because
I mean, how awesome would it be though if okay, so first of all, like there's the rumors that they're doing something. And so like those rumors were from a couple of years ago. And it takes about like a year and a half to like have something ready to show. And like I have a show that is coming out on Netflix in December. And we started that like September of 2020. And like so that's about how long 10 episodes takes.
Mhm.
So if there was a show, then we would have seen something at D23, or like they would have started to like say something about it. So my feeling is that there isn't a show. Maybe there is. I don't know. Or that maybe they're in talks to do a show. The like selfish part of me hopes that this will somehow spark it, and that all of the comments from the fans saying like, you did more for Kyrie in 11 minutes than all of the games, or like you did more character development with these kids Goofy is so much bigger of a part of it than if all of that stuff makes them go, oh wait a second, we've got something here, and like make something happen, then how cool would that be?
Oh, it would be amazing. Like you have such a way with character designs and a way with like beyond like even just that animatic. Like I don't think I can count on both hands how many times I frequently watch Eight Crazy Nights with my friends.
Oh, yeah.
Like going through it, it's like and it's beyond like how funny the movie is from like a comedic standpoint. It's like
Mhm.
artistically, its expressions are so good. Like seeing like the sarcasticness in Davy's face, then like
Mhm.
corresponding to like the sadness in like the last scene when like he actually reads the card for the first time, or when he
Yeah.
like actually reads it, or just the overall adorableness of Whitey. It's like
Yeah.
I really admire how talented you are and how you can bring like these emotions to life through these cartoons.
Well,
And
thank you. But that the bringing of those emotions to life is, it's not just me. It's like, it's the voice performance. It's
mhm.
the board artists. It's the animators. It's the cleanup artists. It's the color stylists. Like, there's so many people that get it to that point. It's the culmination of all of those things. It's how that music cue comes in. It's where that sound effect hits. Like all of it goes in. It's like the everyone puts their ingredient in the stew. So
Yeah, it's a big team effort, and like it's
yeah, I stirred the pot. No, yeah, I
very
hopefully
like.
kept it from burning.
Hey, you know what? I watch it multiple times throughout the year, so came out pretty damn good in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
Um, just while I have you here, one last thing I wanted to go over, because I was there for the YouTube premiere a couple days ago for Willy Nilly.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to
Thanks.
just like I wanted to get a feel for like where the idea and the concept for that came from, because it was really interesting, and I was wondering why it like 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 where that like my I don't want you to like say anything that you can't say, obviously, but just get a little
Well,
bit more of a feel on Willy Nilly.
it's all back. The rights have reverted back, so I can say
Oh,
whatever I want.
oh yeah, it's all yours.
Uh, um, so really, really, the idea came from like wanting to do something where there's no limit to what you can do. Like, because I worked on so many things where like the rules of the world are so specific. That like, oh no, we don't do that because of this, or we don't do that because of this, and so definitely wanted to do something with imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Willy Wonka has always been a favorite movie. The original real one, not anything else that has happened or will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that song, "World of Pure Imagination," like it really resonates with me. And even with Eight Crazy Nights, like in the Long Ago song, when they're driving by those locations that are reminding them of like moments from their past, and they bring those things to life. I just thought like, what if like there was a kid who like his imagination could do that, and he could just get lost in a daydream, and sort of go into another place. And so I co-created that with a friend of mine that I've known since high school, that is also in the industry, but he's more on the reality side. And we have this is the third show that we created together. We actually pitched a show at the first pitch sessions for the What a Cartoon series, that is where Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo, and Cow and Chicken, like they were like we pitched in that round of that thing. And so we pitched a show called The Kid, which was about Billy the Kid and his dumb sidekick, and they go across the desert, and I'll get back to Willie, but I'll tell you this just because it's a silly premise. They go across the desert, and they're starved, or they're dying of thirst, and they finally come across some water, and Billy just goes and jumps in the water, and his oafish sidekick just washes his face in the water. And when Billy comes out, turns out it was the Fountain of Youth, and he comes out as a baby. And then his big oafish partner, who I can't remember his name, but he only had like a baby head, so he was like this big brute guy with a little baby head. And we made up T-shirts. Like this is like back when, like the like very early days of like being able to go to Kinko's and have them print out something on a T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
And so we made T-shirts that had like a wanted poster on the front for Billy the Kid, but as a baby with a pacifier. And then a slogan on the back that was his the catchphrase for the show was "2 guns in a diaper, all loaded." And now I look back at that and I'm like, a baby with guns. What were we thinking? They were never going to agree to that. Then we came up with another show called Bed Bugs that we pitched around, and we got that was right after 8 Crazy Nights, and Disney Channel for a blip was like, we want it, and we just didn't deliver material to them quick enough. But Bed Bugs was about a bed bug who lives in a mattress. He lives in Santa Colita, which is halfway between Box Springs and Stainsville. And he's a bed bug that just doesn't want to bite. And that character was a little bit the start of what Willie became, because that character was a believer. And he believed in things so much that he could bring them to life. And so we sort of took that concept from that show into Willie. Because we pitched it again. We changed the name because, bed bugs. So we changed the name to Willy Nilly in the Land of Silly. And pitched it to a friend who was development exec at Cartoon Network. She was like, yeah, I mean, there's something to the idea, but like this art feels old. And I'm like, well, that's because it is old. This is the old art. So then I did like a completely like redesign, and we sort of took that premise and expanded on it. And then, we really wanted to do something that had the feel of like E.T., except for like Elliot was the E.T. So a lot of the influence for Willie is Elliot from E.T. And definitely wanted that like Spielbergian vibe to it. And
then definitely comes across.
Yeah, while we were doing it, then Stranger Things came out, and we're like, oh my God, yes, that's exactly what we wanted. So we leaned into that even more, and that's where like sort of the like the mystery aspects come in. We wanted to do kind of like it's like a Stranger Things for kids. And that sometimes Willie's imagination would lead to some kind of like fun adventure, and sometimes it would lead to something scary. So like we had in the in some of the pitch material that like when they go camping and there's scary stories told around the campfire, Willie can't help but bring those things to life. And so then you have a little bit of more of a Scooby-Doo kind of episode where there's like something that his imagination has brought to life. So I had been after Slacker Cats, I was trying to make a go of my own studio because I felt like I kept running up against a wall at studios. So I thought like, well, instead of doing these pilots for these other studios, I'll do the pilots for my studio, and then when the pilot goes, then the studio will go and build the studio around that show from that pilot. So then over the next 10 years, I did 7 or 8 pilots, which I'm going to drop quite a few onto the YouTube.
I'm looking forward to them.
And all different ranges of things, like one's a full CG, one's motion capture, and a couple of them were originals. And so Willie was in that group. Willie was the last of that group. And we had a feature script that we took to Netflix, and they really loved the feature script, and that's the reason why we had the conversation period. And at the time, they weren't doing feature animation, and so they asked if we could do it as 10 episodes. So we spent like, and they were like, we're doing this show. We're making this show. And so I'm like, oh my God, we're making a show. We're going to make a show for Netflix. So I didn't look for any other work for my studio because we're making the show for Netflix. When the contracts were all going through, they were like, yeah, we are making the show. We're going to do a separate contract for the pilot animatic than for the rest of the show, so that we can get that started now. But we are definitely making this show. And so, we did the pilot animatic, and then we get to like we'd have these meetings where they'd have just a few little notes, and we'd do the notes, and just like normal, and we get to the meeting where we're like, this is the green light, here it comes, and instead it was like, what's the show about? And like I couldn't even speak. Like my partner had to do all of the talking because like the words that were about to come out of my mouth were not going to be good. And you know, as much as Kingdom Hearts hurt, Kingdom Hearts was like, you know, the girlfriend that you meet at camp. That you know, you're like it was like white hot for that week or 2 weeks that you were at camp, and then camp ends, and then just kind of disappears, and you know you were so in love, but like it was short lived. Willie felt like we had been trying to have a baby, and where we're trying and we're trying and we're trying, and we went through 9 months of labor, and we're at the hospital, and instead of leaving with a baby, we left with I don't know. And so it was just like, you know, as much as Kingdom Hearts hurt, that was literally like someone just stabbed me in the heart. And not just because of that, but because I believed so much that this was finally going to happen. Like I was finally going to get my own show. You know, I'm that guy from Bedbugs that believes so much. Like I believe that it's going to happen. And then when it didn't happen, and I had like put all my chips on Willie, and I had racked up credit card debt, and you know, pulled money out of equity in the house, and you know, because like it was going, they said it was going. So I'm making decisions based on, yeah, we've got some hurdles we've got to get over, but then, you know, going to do a series, and then it's like a whole other thing. Once you get that first show, like it's so much easier to get the next show. It was just like when they said that, like, no, like just hit me in the kneecaps with a sledgehammer, like just crush my hands, you know, just put me out of my misery, because like to string me along for that long for I don't know, to maybe take it to some of your writer friends and have them watch it and give you feedback, and it's just like, and I'm gonna cuss, so be careful if I don't know.
Oh, we're good, no problem.
Okay. You know, they're like, yeah, take it to your writer friends and have them give feedback, and I'm like, well, that's your job. You're the fucking executive. Give me the fucking notes, and we'll do whatever you want. Just that's your job. And then later, I got from the same person who then, you know, was cut loose shortly after that, from Netflix, and was sort of the beginning. Like now we've seen like that the house of cards was already starting to crumble at that point. You know, after I was told by the same exec, you know, you should do it as a graphic novel. And I'm just like, I mean, I do have all this art. Like I could probably go into Manga Studio Pro and pull in the art from Storyboard Pro and put together a manga, like, you know, without having to completely start from scratch. But it just, yeah. Sorry, there's another lot of words.
Oh,
and
no.
I know I said 12, but I can go longer.
I think Zoom is actually about to kick me out in like 3 minutes for some reason.
Oh yeah, there's a timer. Okay, so we'll go by that timer.
But no, like I enjoyed hearing about that, and it's like you can tell when I saw the animatic, like watching it, it's like there's so much love in it, and it gave me this Stranger Things meets like a Page Master kind of vibe a bit, and I was so into it. And for the future of whatever comes for Willy Nilly, like I'm believing in it too, because I'm hoping if I believe in it, I'll get more episodes, and we'll get to see this thing turn into what it should be, which is
we can all put our imaginations towards making that happen. That would be awesome. Yeah.
It'd be incredible. But Before we get kicked out of here, one thing I want to do for like episodes of Art Block, the last thing I would like to ask you, for any artists who are trying to, we all reach a point where it's like it can get difficult to do something, where it's like it's hard, it's stressful, it can kind of rip, like, gnaws at your soul a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for artists?
I mean, I keep seeing this quote in Instagram that anything that an artist does is just a skill that can be learned, and that the real thing that makes you an artist is that drive to keep going. So like anyone can learn how to draw, but to keep at it and keep making that thing, that's where the artist comes in. It's not easy. Like, if it was easy, everyone would be artists and there'd be no war. I mean, when I try to plan my day in such a way that I do creative work when I'm the most creative, and for me that's after lunch, I try to do the other stuff that you also have to do as an artist before, like even if you're not a professional artist, like getting supplies, cleaning your workspace, getting prepared for the day, setting up an area for yourself where you can get into the flow, I think are all really important. Another thing, I feel like if I could go back and talk to younger me, I would say, don't try to draw like other people. Just try to draw like yourself. Because the more you try to draw like other people, the more frustrated you're going to be. And ultimately, you're going to look back at the drawings you're doing now when you're older and be like, damn, I had it going on then. Like, where'd that go?
I think that's excellent advice. And Seth, I appreciate having you here today. Thank you for taking a minute to speak with me.
Yeah, for sure.
If you ever want to come back, you're always welcome here. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Okay. Well, yeah, when you see something else, you can invite me back.
Definitely. But thank you so much, Seth. And
yeah,
this has been my inaugural episode of Art Block. Thank you, Seth.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.